What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at this week's edition of the Red Brand, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Roman Reigns' return to Smackdown, has a Bad Blood main event been leaked, an update on a WWE star retiring, a WWE fan kicked out of Raw, an emotional night for the Wyatt 6, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. As always, we won't recap the show, but just look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good is number 1, Judgment Day 3.0. Well, the Judgment Day isn't going anywhere. Fans who wondered whether the group was history after Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor's respective betrayals of Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest at SummerSlam got their answer last night. The Judgment Day has tweaked its membership, and while we don't know if this version will compare to the previous one, the WWE wisely understands that the group still has gas in the tank to continue. More important, it's a great way to spotlight talent like JD McDonough and Carlito, who will likely be sidelined if left on their own. Number 2, Rhea and Damian strike back. Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest have much to be angry about after the events of Saturday's PLE, so it was no surprise to see them looking for payback on Liv Morgan, Mysterio, and Finn Balor. The WWE played this out well, showing the babyfaces getting a smattering of payback and teasing fans for a payoff at a PLE. Number 3, WWE teasing new direction for Sami and Jay. Are Sami Zayn and Jey Uso going to help out Roman Reigns deal with Solo Sikoa's bloodline? While that's only speculation on our part, some fans believe that last night's dialogue between Sami Zayn and Jey Uso foreshadowed the two reuniting as a tag team and possibly even helping out Roman Reigns. Do you think we're reading too much into that one? Number 4, Bronson Reed destroys Seth. The WWE has booked Bronson Reed inconsistently since his Raw debut, giving him momentous wins one week only to follow up with him losing to people he should have beaten. Nonetheless, Reed's actions made sense as he told Adam Pearce he was looking to make a name for himself, and he did, by annihilating Seth Rollins. On one hand, Reed's attack might seem repetitive, as it's the same thing Bron Breakker did, getting opportunities by destroying several Raw superstars. However, the case can also be made that Reed saw Bron's success and decided to emulate it. The biggest question now is whether Reed will get a sustained push or sink down to the mid-card after feuding with Seth. One thing is clear, the WWE managed to put Seth vs CM Punk on the back burner for a while thanks to Reed's attack on the Visionary. Number 5, Drew vs Seth vs Punk promo. McIntyre, Rollins and Punk continue to be on the masterclasses in promos as seen by last night's work. Punk tapped into the fans' love for him before Seth Rollins showed up and challenged him. And not to be outdone, McIntyre patted himself on the back for defeating Punk, then taunted him by showing he still has Punk's friendship bracelet, triggering Punk and letting fans know that McIntyre vs Punk is not over. Number 6, Randy vs Gunther, the perfect defense. A more brilliant booking as the WWE set things up for Gunther's first World Championship defense, pitting him against 14-time World Champion Randy Orton. The WWE used strong storyline continuity by playing off Gunther's controversial King of the Ring finish where Orton had a shoulder up when the 3 count was made, establishing why the two men have unfinished business. Orton's promo even referenced Triple H's past remarks that the WWE Universe deserves an Orton vs Gunther Part 2. Although Gunther's promo skills are still lacking, Orton helped make this seem like a big deal. But will the fans in Berlin cheer Gunther as much as Randy Orton? Whatever happens, fans will also watch the match closely to see how it ties in what looks to be an inevitable program between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Number 7, excellent debut for the Wyatt 6. The Wyatt 6 debut was an unqualified success. Joe Gacy, Erick, Rowan and Dexter Lumis wrestle like the powerhouses they are against opponents who were portrayed as a legitimate threat. The match also suggested that the group won't display the same supernatural invulnerability that The Fiend did, a concern that many fans had before this match. Number 8, Team Forehead vs Damage Control looks to be good. Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville and Zoe Stark have quickly become a trio not to be trifled with, as seen by their latest beatdown, this time on Damage Control's Dakota Kai. It'll be interesting to see how Damage Control counters the group's MMA-orientated offense, and also whether the WWE turns Damage Control babyface. And Odyssey Jones' debut. Odyssey Jones' main roster debut was well played as he looked strong taking out the AOP, and his arrival furthered the tension between New Day members Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. While Woods was happy to get back up against the Final Testament's numbers game, it was clear he would have liked Kofi cluing him in on the big man's arrival. Two questions come to mind now: will Woods and Kingston work out their issues, and if so, will Odyssey Jones be able to work as their partner without angering fans who still miss Biggie? Whatever the case, after 411 days he's finally made his debut on Raw. That was good. What about the bad is Sheamus vs Ludwig Kaiser. Did the WWE Universe need to see yet another match between Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser? Although the match was all about Sheamus versus Pete Dunne, the WWE should have booked the Celtic Warrior against someone else. At the same time, it needs to put Ludwig into a program where he doesn't seem like a fill-in who is used when the WWE writers are short of time or just plain lazy. And there was nothing downright ugly. This Raw was a perfect follow-up to a PLE, building off the excitement from the show while still using it to build momentum for what lies ahead. The undercard was solid, and even matches like Awesome Truth vs A-Town Down Under and New Day vs Final Testament were effective for storyline purposes and entertaining fans with in-ring action. Dare we say that this was the second best Raw of the year? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at Roman Reigns' return to Smackdown. At top of today's news, it's time to batten down the hatches as Roman Reigns is now scheduled to appear on the 9th August Smackdown. Reigns, who returned at SummerSlam, will undoubtedly have plenty to say as he addresses Solo Sikoa's attempt to replace him as a tribal chief. Fans will also be curious to see if Roman brings anyone to help him deal with Solo's advantage in allies. Do you think this could also be the return of Paul Heyman? Next up, WWE Bad Blood main event leaked. The WWE's Bad Blood PLE is returning in October, and now a new report from WRKD Wrestling states that WWE has decided on its main event. CM Punk vs Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell match is currently planned as main event of October's PLE Bad Blood. The WWE apparently delayed Seth Rollins vs Punk by throwing Rollins into a program with Bronson Reed. This gives McIntyre and Punk to finish their feud, which thankfully didn't end at SummerSlam. McIntyre vs Punk needs a stipulation for its rematch, and Hell in a Cell just seems perfect to end their blood feud. Next up, Erick Rowan pays tribute to Brodie Lee. The Wyatt 6 debut featured some exciting in-ring action as well as a touching tribute to the late great Mr. Brodie Lee. During the bout, the Wyatt 6's Erick Rowan did Brodie's yeah 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 before hitting a slingshot senton on Chad Gable. Next up, an emotional night for the Wyatt 6. The Wyatt 6 also had an emotional display after Raw went off the air. The group hugged each other in the ring on what was a special night in more ways than one. You may recall that the Wyatt family debuted in Baltimore on July 8th, 2013. Last night's show was in Baltimore, which made the Wyatt 6's in-ring debut so special. Next up, an update on the WWE star retiring. Has Becky Lynch retired from wrestling? I recently noted an Instagram post from Lynch that some fans believe was a hint that she's stepping away to focus on motherhood. And now Fightful select Sean Ross Sapp is reporting on the latest talk in the WWE. Sapp states that he reached out to sources close to the situation, and WWE sources were under the belief that Lynch wouldn't announce her retirement with just a social media message. Nonetheless, another source reportedly told Sapp that Lynch is no longer under a WWE contract and can do whatever she wants. Do you think she has retired? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, WWE considering international Raws. Could the WWE fans attending international PLEs get to see Smackdown and Raw when the WWE comes to town? Well, Pro Wrestling Nexus is reporting, as reported in PW Nexus yesterday on the Discord, WWE has discussed moving Raw to being taped on a Sunday following an international PLE, i.e. Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. This new format would give talent more time to recoup and recover rather than flying and rushing straight back into television. We're told that this would mostly be for international sake if they do decide to carry forward with this idea. I repeat, this is not cleared or approved as of this writing. The idea makes sense on paper not only for logistical purposes, but because the WWE may be able to squeeze money out of its already lucrative international shows. Next up, a top team leaving AEW for WWE. It looks like the rumors of one of AEW's top tag teams exiting the promotion are true. Wrestling Purist recently tweeted, according to multiple AEW sources, the Lucha Brothers are expected to leave AEW when their contracts expire this year. Some sources speculated that they were heading to WWE, some claimed it was a formality. They were originally planned for an AEW World Trios title match at Wembley, but plans have now changed. The Lucha Brothers are one of AEW's most exciting tag teams to watch and had some epic matches as a tag team as well as with fellow Death Triangle member Puck in the Trios competitions. While injuries have sidelined the group, they haven't always been used well. And finally, a WWE fan kicked out of Raw. And last but not least, Raw was a phenomenal show, but apparently it wasn't enough to entertain one attendee. Ringside News reported, the show took place at the CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore, and as revealed by footage making rounds online, an intoxicated fan was getting violent with security and had to be escorted out of the building. The man was lunging at security before security personnel subdued him and took him outside the arena and restrained him. The man is also telling the security to call 911 in a drunken stupor. While this type of behavior is certainly not limited to wrestling events, it's still a bad look and one that points fans in a bad light. But there you have it, folks, our look at Raw as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.